Bitches and germs, welcome to Serial's Freak Show Circus. There are many odd individuals in this world, but today we're looking at the oddest of them all. Someone built on complete delusion and chronic addiction to pornographic material, a one-of-a-kind specimen created by a severe lack of attention from the opposite sex. I present you the biggest Vtuber simp. Man, it's been a while since I've bullied any simps. Today we're looking at the comments section's favorite punching bag. Now, this absolute manlet has devised a serial nuke to completely destroy me. The magnum opus of comments, which is going to go through all of my content and pick apart every argument I've ever made, is what I would have said if this wasn't the worst fucking comment I've ever seen in my entire life. This is the most pitiful excuse for a response I've ever fucking seen. And I even gave you the option to revamp it. I gave two, actually. I told you directly that this response sucked, but in true simp fashion, you wouldn't budge. So this complete fucking mess of a response is the serial nuke. You always complain about wanting to message me on Discord, and this is exactly why I don't see you as a threat and would never give you the time of day to have a one-on-one argument. Because if this is the best response you can come up with given time and research, then I can only imagine how fucking embarrassing a live chat would be. Speaking of Discord, you said your Discord was in your Instagram bio, and that piqued my attention again. I haven't actually checked your account since the last time I discussed you, which was like 4 months ago, so I had a buddy of mine scout your account for a few days while I was on a study hiatus. So shout out to him for that, even though he doesn't want to associate with my channel. Now, the first thing I noticed was, why do you have my name in your bio? I don't know when you added that, but it's very concerning. It appears you still love to bitch about me on your stories. And no, I'm not to blame for your natural ability to repulse females. I can assure you it's saying shit like you're married to Maury Calliope, which is actually really fucking sad, to be honest. But you know, if this is your mindset, then it's no wonder you keep returning. When the truth shatters your only source of happiness, it's only natural for the weak-minded to retaliate. Now, from what I've gathered from the few screenshots I've been sent and your behavior in the comments, you're someone who has so little going on in their life that a small fraction of attention from a stranger on the internet is the only drama you have, and so you cling to it. Do you seriously have nothing else going on? Don't you have other shit to be dealing with? I mean, you do also comment on every single one of my videos only a few hours after they're uploaded, so I guess you are just stalking my page. Here's a recent one too. No less than 1 hour after I posted on my community tab, you're already there. I 100% agree with Nox and Tormentor here. It's a fucking obsession at this point. I still can't believe you have my name in your bio. It's just so fucking pathetic. I can't believe there's actually someone like that. Holy shit. I guess that's a simp for ya. There's nothing else going on in his life aside from defending his whore queen from some random guy on the internet. And yes, your quote-unquote wife is a manipulative cunt who's getting railed behind the scenes while you're jerking off to her fan art. I hope that's jabbing salt into your loveless wound, you fucking loser. Going back to his Instagram, I also recognize you still have porn on your page. You still never answered why you have porn on your page to begin with. But moving on to the topic of degeneracy, I also noticed you wanted me to make a sissy hypnosis video. And I didn't actually know what that was, so I googled it, and it's like a tranny fetish where you're trying to demasculate men to be more feminine, I guess? That's a really oddly specific thing to say out of the blue. Like, we've already established that you're a fucking porn addict, but what was the purpose of this line? That you're into sissy hypnosis? If it's not that, how the fuck would you even know about it to begin with? You're already low on testosterone from watching VTubers all day. Are you just trying to speed up the process or something? Is that why you have he, him pronouns in your bio? To reassure yourself that you're still a man after watching this gay shit. Anyways, back on topic, you claim your Discord is in your Instagram bio, but where? For someone who talks so confident about wanting to hash it out over a DM, you sure do never post a Discord, huh? But I know why you don't. It's because you're a fucking pussy who wants to act tough on the internet when deep down you know you can't hold your own like the fucking simp you are. I mean, isn't that why you have to get your retarded followers to do that for you? The last thing I noticed from these screenshots is that you get your followers to like your own comments because no one else will support your shitty beliefs. And it's not just me, he tries to ratio other people's content too, which means it's still a numbers game to you, and it's the only thing maintaining your fragile insecurity. Ain't that a sad reality? Alright, let's get on to the serial nuke.
There are generally two questions some idiots are gonna ask. Why do you care so much? He will make another video, insert simp and variation. The first question is easy, because I want to, and you could say the same for your dude Serial. And second, who cares? What I'm gonna show you is undeniable proof that Serial is just stupid or maybe sexist, I don't know. Anyways, let's get started.
First, you are correct. I'm gonna make another simp variation. It's the one you're watching as I speak. Ooh. Secondly, where's the second question? You have 2 answers, but there's only 1 question. You even said there are 2 questions. Is it this line here? That's not a question though, it's just a statement. You know, in theory I could just make a whole video nitpicking all your basic grammatical errors and inconsistencies, but I'm not a grammar Nazi and I feel like your special ed teacher does that enough for you already. And third, undeniable proof that I'm stupid and maybe sexist, but you don't even know. You don't sound too confident, but I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. This is the biggest VTuber simp using his brain on max capacity after all. Overall, for a serial nuke, this thesis statement kinda sucks dick. I give it 3 out of 10.
Alright, I watched the 4 main videos he has about VTubers. Talk about milking the cow, and the Eagles one that won't be relevant for now. From the OG video Arla bad to VTubers are terrible too, there is not a single original point not taken from the OG video or even expanded on as he said in the OG video. Let me explain. Sorry if it sounds weird quoting, I had to transcribe this.
Wait, hold up, let me figure out what you're trying to say, cause your English is so fucking bad it's like a 2nd grade Chinese immigrant wrote it, and even that's a stretch. For the Chinese immigrant, I mean. Alright, you've got my e-girl video. I'm kind of happy for that actually. It doesn't get enough love in my opinion. And my 4 main VTuber videos. If I had to guess, he's referring to the OG, VTubers are terrible, indie VTubers, and VTubers 2. I find it odd that you'd pick those out of all my videos. Half of those are just borderline leafy style videos where I just make fun of the VTubers' surface level content. A very surface level subjective take where I just make fun of their voices and personas. Wouldn't it logically make more sense to discuss, oh, I don't know, the biggest VTuber simp, the finale? You know, the video where I deconstructed every single one of your original arguments? You also said I didn't expand on my original argument from the OG video, but I actually have. It's in the finale video, and it's in the male VTubers video, and it's in this one too actually, later on. With how many times I've said it, I wonder why you haven't deconstructed that one yet. I don't think I discussed any of the in-depth theory in the original that I used as a basis. It's still kind of odd why you wouldn't use the finale. It basically has my theory in whole, and it also tears down all of your points. Oh wait, I just answered my own question, but let's continue.
So in the OG video he says this.
Now, the one reason why I don't actually like them is because they're playing you, think to perceive themselves in a way in which seems appealing to their audience in hopes for more donations and views. This is less on the deception side, but it still creates a disconnect between the audience and the creator. Or, that's what I see anyway. I also want to take a moment to point out how goddamn annoying their voices are. It would probably be more tolerable if I didn't have to hear these goddamn Alvin and a Chipmunk sounding bitches yelling in my ears.
This was said in his first video. Now here is 2 different sayings from Serial in VTubers are terrible 1 and 2.
I've talked about Gura briefly in a previous video, and that's mainly because she's the perfect example to illustrate how annoying VTubers can be. From the high-pitched voice to the blatant acting, she's probably the easiest to nitpick when it comes to it.
This is talking about Gargura. She is a VTuber he already covered in the first one by the way. And video 2.
And it has a high-pitched laugh that resembles the cry of a screeching seagull.
This is much smaller, but the fact that he keeps mentioning it makes me guess he really doesn't have anything else except calling it cringe and boring. Even though you have admitted a couple times you find a few of the clips a bit funny, but I guess you get that affordability. But everyone must watch the full stream. It really must suck seeing this on paper how stupid these arguments are and biased. And that's literally the biggest point he makes the rest of the videos I mentioned. And I compared side to side their transcript is him calling it cringe, people who watch this shit is losers, and variations of ways he rathered go to Ram Ranch or something instead of watching any of them. Okay, I guess?
What? That's the biggest point I make in the rest of the videos you mentioned? You can't be serious, right? 2 lines from my 2 subjective videos making fun of these VTubers' content, poking fun at their voices. No shit, the subjective videos are gonna be heavily biased. Do you not know what subjective means? I literally said that in both of the videos. Is this supposed to be some great own? The point of these 2 videos was to make fun of these VTubers' cringy and boring content. It's to show what kind of retarded content people like you are watching and to make fun of you for it. Did you not piece that together? I mean, I literally said it in the videos. I guess you just happened to gloss over it when I said that. Twice. Right. Or you're just a fucking idiot who's trying to make a piss poor argument out of concepts your brain is too smooth to understand. You also said that's the biggest point I make for the rest of the videos mentioned. Those being the OG and indie VTubers. Which is not actually true. I'd say the OG is more of an overview. It's a pretty tame video compared to my modern content. And despite it being a first attempt at that style of content, I think it holds holds up fine. In it, I gave my rough thoughts as to why I disliked VTubers. This being because they felt disingenuous and the fact that they were playing you like a damn fiddle. This included their surface level content, of course, but that wasn't the main premise. Indie VTubers was made to counter-argue people who said that it was only the corporate VTubers. In it, I disproved this by saying they also capitalize on the simp market to a lesser degree by following the same formula as the corpos. I also make fun of their content in my typical fashion, but I guess I shouldn't have expected you of all people to piece that much together. I know why this was the only point you picked. It's because there's no way in fuck you would have the brain capacity to deconstruct my actual objective arguments. You know, from the finale, the whole facade and manipulation part of it. I even make jokes about how much I say it, but I guess you still don't like discussing that, do you? Hell, I'm even gonna dumb it down even more later on in this video just to make it that much easier for your slow ass to understand. But nah, that's the best you can do, isn't it? Well, look guys, he mentioned their voices in like 3 of his videos. That's literally his only reason for hating them. There's also, this last part. It's just fucking words. I compared side to side. Their transcript is just him calling it cringe. People who watch this shit is losers and variations of ways he'd rather go to Ram Ranch or something instead of watching any of them. Okay, I guess in parentheses. What the fuck is this broken ass sentence? Alright, I think I've deciphered it. I'm not exactly fluent in autistic retard, but from what I've gathered, you're saying I call these people losers because I would rather go to Ram Ranch instead of watch these VTubers. Ram Ranch being some gay cowboy thing by the looks of it. It's another really random, oddly specific line, much like the sissy hypnosis thing. I don't know why you would even know about such a thing to begin with, but we've already established porn and VTubers aren't exactly healthy for the brain, so I'm not gonna question it. Let's move on.
Alright, here's a comment I saved a while ago because of how good it is. Grown men with no real job sitting in front of the computer all day, playing games and watching shows, making rants and funny tirades about something that's not even important? Get a job, you bum. This kinda cringe some old people might feel against just all streamers is in the exact same context as the cringe they say they have against VTubers, as an unapologetic lack of understanding and tolerance. This comment describes Serial perfectly because I'm gonna show what he said in the indie are bad and the e-girls are bad, and surprisingly, the one not really sexist point.
I actually agree with this part to a certain degree. You mentioned that I talk about things that aren't important, and I 100% agree. Almost everything on my channel is trivial, the most trivial being fucking VTubers. But despite that, you still seem to care. Here's a Serial behind the scenes tidbit. If I'm lucky, I get about 30 minutes a day to work on a video, and it's actually pretty relaxing. I have fun making videos. It's a break from the chaos. Can you say the same about the numerous essays you've written across all of my videos? You also said I have a huge lack of understanding and tolerance on the subject matter. I agree with the tolerance part. I'm glad you finally realized that's my whole fucking channel. However, I disagree with the understanding part of it. I think it's because I understand the inner workings of these dipfucks is exactly why I don't accept it. I get the fact that someone this far down the rabbit hole probably isn't capable of thinking critically even when I spell it out right in front of them, so we'll leave it at that.
This comment describes Serial perfectly because I'm gonna show what he said in the indie are bad and the e-girls are bad, and surprisingly, the one not really sexist point.
I like to call this the one-sided illusionary relationship mentality. The thought process behind this mentality is that a small VTuber with less attention is more likely to recognize your donations and efforts. Honestly, it's a pretty smart move on the VTubers, I'll give them that. Now with this in mind, sure, indie VTubers can potentially start off being more grounded in reality, but they'll eventually shift their personality to whatever garners the most views and money.
Even if I were to give you a fucking ton of gold bricks, there's nothing I can do as more charitable as saying maybe you forgot, because I refuse to believe someone not clouded by dumb shit, is stupid, or etc. could write such a lie and try to say a certain group does it more? Fuck no, you're completely wrong on this. We have and actually more proof on Twitch streamers, YouTubers, and hell even content creators in general switch up their personality to make more money and crap. Don't use something that could be applied to such a wide majority to prove a stupid fucking point. This honestly pisses me off in general when people claim something is new, riveting, or even worsened by something that has existed since its creation. And don't argue this, you know I'm right. Any 5 to 10 VTuber examples I can retaliate with 100 plus examples of content creators doing the exact same shit.
But you're not right. And of course you wouldn't want me to argue this. I don't recall ever saying that VTubers do it more than other content creators, but they're definitely more profitable and it's easier to pinpoint, as I said in the video. It's just more straightforward to see the manipulation with VTubers due to this wacky concept known as sexual selection. These VTubers cater to gamers and coomers or whatever and shift their personality to such. That was the point of that line. My biggest issue is that you didn't even understand this sentence, and the bulk of your serial nuke is arguing a point I didn't make. Your grand argument is that other content creators do this more than VTubers. Like, wow, you won the argument I never fucking made. No shit, other content creators do this. It's almost as if I made a whole video on it. So your big serial nuke point is, because other content creators do it, then it's okay for VTubers to also do it? And I know it's not some new riveting concept, I've actually said that before, but I guess you just pick and choose what you want to hear. You say that you can get 100 other content creators for every 5 to 10 VTubers who can manipulate, which I believe you can, but what does it prove? That there are more parasocial shitbags than VTuber scum? No shit. It doesn't take a genius to figure that much out. The barrier to entry for a VTuber is a whole rig and persona, whereas for streamers it's just a mic and an optional webcam. But you'll find that despite there being an ungodly amount of streamers, about 90% of them get fuck all for views, whereas the few VTubers can rake it in. This is due to the nature of that portion of the internet being saturated with lonely men. Like, what does this even prove? It doesn't disprove anything I've said, because that was never one of my points to begin with. I should have expected as much though. It's only natural for a simp to make up a shower argument to own so he can feel smart for once.
Another thing will still be on this brain-dead shit. In your theory of sexism, you said something about manufacturing from the ground up. Man, it is really hard to bear in min, just refer to what I said.
Disprove it then. All you've said so far is that I make fun of their voices, my content is cringe, and that other content creators manipulate more than VTubers. These don't disprove my points. One of these is looking at my voice argument from my 2 subjective videos and glossing over all the other points from the OG. One of these being just your feelings on my content. And one of these is fighting an argument I didn't make. Refer to what? What do I bear in mind? The fact that you're a psychedelic retard? Everyone's already figured that out. But as promised, let's make a dummies guide to my theory on VTuber simp manipulation. Just because you're too stupid to understand the normal ones and love to avoid them. Let's start simple. In primal times, men used to fight each other for pussy. This is rooted in our DNA. Pussy has power. This is why men have to make the first move and try harder to get laid rather than the opposition. It's because men are desperate and will accept the fattest, ugliest broads out there. Some fat bitch could walk in a bar and there'll be some guy desperate enough to catch type 2 diabetes after hitting that. This being because even in the modern age, our roots in interspecies competition from the primal age are still active. I hope you can understand the super simplified version of this, because I don't think I can dumb it down anymore for you. Now I'll give credit where credit is due. For the price of your self-respect, any moderately attractive woman can easily capitalize on these sad saps who've given up. Obviously what I'm referring to is women making a profit off of men who've given up on the dating game, so they resort to paying a virtual woman to fill a void of defeat. Not a bad business model if we're referring to your average porn addict. What 2 mediums are full of sad sacks of shit like this? I know your slow brain needed more time to think on that, but the answer is anime and video games. Do you know what a waifu is? It's an ideal woman in the eyes of one of these loners. Their affection towards a fictional woman that can't reject their advances. You ever wonder why there's an ungodly amount of dogshit anime like this? It's because sex sells and it's waifu bait. The merchandise sells because these losers are willing to dump cash to be closer to their waifus. Now, what other medium does this? Oh wow, it's your virtual wife. Man, I hope you invited me to your wedding. I can't wait to see the look of pure disappointment on your parents' faces. I said something identical in this video, and I wonder why you didn't add it to the serial nuke. A comment which was supposed to go through all of my content and destroy all of my points. I think I'm picking up on a trend that you may just be all talk. I mean, that has to be why you never post your Discord, isn't it? Just kidding, this isn't new. We established this 4 months ago. You're just adding to my case. You're a fucking pussy who tries to act tough in the comments because someone bashed their bitch of a queen. Now back on topic, VTubers are fucking genius when it comes to this capitalization. Rather than some triple D bitch on some shitty harem anime, you have a virtual anime girl you can interact with via donations. I think I said this exact line in my last response to you. Whatever. Now sex isn't the only thing that sells, of course. When this desperation gets to a certain level, it's no longer just a matter of sex appeal. It's a matter of any form of affection from the opposite sex. You also never acknowledge the tit mouse pads or the body pillows. Maybe you're ashamed to talk about that because you feel called out. Let me guess, you have a body pillow of your wife, Maury Calliope. God, I feel sorry for that pillow. I can only imagine the horrible things a Kuma like you would do to it. Why does the official Hololive store sell tit mouse pads and body pillows? You say I'm very predictable and easy to counter, but you don't like acknowledging any of the hard-hitting questions, do you? If they weren't trying to capitalize on lonely sacks of shit like you, why the fuck would they sell body pillows and tit mouse pads? A product that only lonely sacks of shit would even buy. Why would these exist on the official Hololive store if that wasn't their objective? I think that covers you, right? A lonely guy defending his whore queen who would never even give you a second glance fans no matter how much you donate to her and play her dog shit music on repeat. You know, this is just Darwinism in the works in the form of a pricey contraceptive. Instead of a condom or a vasectomy, you can end your bloodline by devoting your life to a fucking VTuber. One more thing, I believe anyone who unironically calls a VTuber they've never met their wife should just be fucking euthanized. Back on topic, I wanted you to prove me wrong. When I told you twice that your argument was a piss poor, pathetic waste of toilet paper, this is what I meant. You disproved none of my points and cherry-picked very specific lines to avoid discussing anything you can't handle, which is basically everything. This is why you're a fucking joke to me and everybody else in the fucking comments section. This is why you're not worth my time in a one-on-one, because you don't even know your own fucking arguments. It's just pure emotion with no logical thought. I guarantee anyone who just has a broad understanding of my ideas could dismantle yours in an instant.
Last thing, is Serial a misogynist? Maybe. Why do I say that? Well, if you look at his Eagles video, which he says he talks about because a lot of Eagles and VTubers are women, is honestly a fair assessment and is mostly true. However, my issue with this shit is you clearly are going to be sexist in the first place, talking about titty streamers whoring out and simps, as if that only happens towards women. If you were going to present yourself as not sexist, you already shot yourself in the foot with making videos focusing on female streamers, VTubers, and saying shit that could be said about any gender. Hotshots because they are funny.
Wow, what a great way to end this shitty serial nuke. The classic sexist argument I've heard about 500 times now. Okay, here's the timeline. You're not sure if I'm sexist, then you say my points are fair because the market is predominantly female, and then you backtrack and say I'm sexist because I only target female creators. Did you even think before you typed this? Alright boys, I've sent you a line from that simp guy's response. First he says I'm not sexist because the VTuber market is dominated by females, but right after that he says I'm sexist because I only discuss VTubers that are female. Like, what the fuck?
What the fuck indeed, Serial. This guy can't keep his crazy liberal ass straight. He calls you all this bullshit and makes claims he's marrying Calliope. What the fuck? He drops dollars and thinks instantly that means he's getting married. A little advice to you there, dude. Stick to your mom's play toys. At least they're real.
So you understand that the simp market is dominated by women, and then you say that I'm sexist because I only make fun of the women who capitalize on simps? You're fucking joking, right? You answered your own question. Why the fuck is this a point? If I make fun of a female-dominated market, then the majority of creators I discuss are gonna be female. Is that a concept you can't understand? Are you seriously that fucking retarded? Maybe the point you're trying to make is why don't I go after men who do the same thing? Well, surprise surprise, it's because it's a female-dominated market. I've discussed men who do the same thing, but due to the fact that 99% of the creators who do this are female, the majority of my videos are gonna discuss the female creators. Aren't you a business major? You must have taken an entry-level economics course. How the fuck is this a hard concept to process? It's just basic supply and demand rooted in, you guessed it, sexual selection. Once again, please fucking disprove that point. Do you just plead ignorance to every point you can't counteract, or are you just that fucking stupid? There's also an ending line here, but I don't give enough of a fuck to read it. Apparently Mr. Mista said VTuber fans are children, and the fact that you took it personally just confirms his statement. In conclusion, this is the greatest piece of work ever created by someone infatuated by virtual women and excessive pornography. Someone whose value is tied to a numerical follower count and how they're perceived on the internet. Someone whose only source of attention is a total stranger on the internet. So much so that they put my name in their fucking bio. That's actually so fucking sad, man. Like, what the fuck? Well, there's your answer. That's why I believe your little serial nuke sucks a fat dick. What I recommend is you take 12 tabs of amitriptyline and save some oxygen for someone who's an actual benefit to society. Anyways, that's all for today. If you enjoyed, you better fucking subscribe or I'm gonna come to your house and beat you to death, you motherfuckers.